What's the biggest issue you think I can help you with?
I think in terms of strategy, because I suppose like where I am at the moment, I'm full of lots of lovely ideas onto like what I need to do to start things, and I can almost recognise myself in the buy me kind of mind frame, and so I end up doing lots of courses and starting things up, and then I have a real, I don't know, maybe some confidence issues around sort of actually getting started. So I'll give you a couple of examples. I've been recently qualified. I've done things like copywriting and mediation, and I get to sort of qualify. I think, right, okay, I'm good to go. And then I just
understood.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, I need to do another course to bulk up my experience. Or I need to do this, and I feel like
I get it. And it's a common pattern, but how long have you been running that pattern, do you think? And the pattern that we're running here is essentially trying to find skills in order to replace certainty.
If I'm honest, longer than quite a long time. I mean, I'm probably thinking years. I wish that wasn't the case, but yeah.
That's why you're here. That's okay. But, the first step is getting honest with ourselves. So, understand that distracting ourselves to run off to do a course because we think it'll give us the answer, then we just feel the same, but we've got more skills. So we run off to do a different course because we're still searching for the answer.
Yeah.
And how long has this been frustrating for you?
Again, years, if I'm honest. Since starting USM, I've kind of had a few, it sort of made me think about things in a different way, in a good way. But it has been quite a while, I think. And it's, when you're left with that feeling of, you know something's not quite right.
It's frustrating. And it must be pretty awful because that level of frustration isn't situational specific. It's a repeat pattern. And if it repeats, it overspills into other areas of your life because it's a result of how you're showing up and who you are, not what it is that you're doing or what you're not doing in terms of courses. Okay. And how do you like to be able to shift that today?
Sorry, I have given this quite a lot of thought.
Let me put it a different way. Are you ready to let go of this today?
Yes. Yeah.
That's an easier question.
Yeah.
See, the reason you're struggling is because you've been chasing the how for a long time and now you can't reconcile the how. So therefore, you don't want to set yourself up to be disappointed. So therefore, your expectations are lowered. You follow that?
Yeah.
That's another pattern that's been running for a while. There's a hope at the back of the mind that maybe this time, this course, this workshop, this program, this whatever, will finally do it, but we're running the same patterns. And therefore, if that accumulates, you are going to drop levels of expectation because there's still a bit of a glimmer. Otherwise, you wouldn't be acting on wanting to do new stuff. But the belief that you'll actually follow through tends to diminish. Is that a fair summation?
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's why I asked, do you want to change this? Are you ready to change that? Don't worry about the how. The how's my job.
Very much so, yes. In fact, I think I've been ready for quite a while, just not been able to articulate it or not been able to, but yes, I'm very much ready to do that.
Good. See, my method is called 6 seconds in, and it'll really help transform you if you let it. So let me explain how it works. The reason that you've been resisting is linked to ultimately the primary fear. The fear that you're not enough, which would be triggered by fear of failure, the fear of being undeserving, all of that kind of stuff. You've got no problem succeeding at things that aren't as aspirational. You've got no problem doing stuff to you that's mundane, that to some people would be a problem. So it's not a capability thing. It's an internal shift. And all fear comes from a certain brainwave state, which is your beta brainwaves, which means that when you're more identified, focusing on what could go wrong, even unconsciously, or expecting things to go wrong because they've gone wrong so many times, your brain says, why should I even bother? Because I'd much rather not attempt it if there's a risk of failure at the end of that rainbow and walk all the way to the end of the rainbow only to find out, there's a cow pat, not a block of treasure. And so you'll distract yourself into something you are really good at. And what you are really good at is taking courses. You're really good at accumulating more knowledge. Would that sit with you as well?
Yeah. I'd love to say no, but yeah,
I appreciate the honesty.
Yeah.
So the key here is we have to get out of that brainwave state, because your answers are not going to be found there. Your excuses are going to be found there. Your distractions are going to be found there. And instead, we need to shift to a different gear, because the answers are there. They're just not in that place that you're looking or searching or trying to find them. You could have all the best fishing gear, but if there's no fish in that part of the lake, you're coming up empty. So let's go to where the fish are. Now, where are the fish? The answers you seek don't exist when you're trying to think of them. That's the paradox. They exist in a sense of knowing, not in a sense of trying to figure it out. They exist in a state called alpha, which is where your brain drops to anywhere around about 10 hertz or less, 10 cycles per second. You can do that. All of a sudden, your fears, your doubts, your cortisol, your biochemistry, your sympathetic, parasympathetic nervous system fighting each other, all of that diminishes. Now, how do you do that? Well, it's hard because you can't think yourself into that. But there's a method, if you follow, which starts with 6 seconds in, you can easily tap into a place where there is no more fear. Because my guess here, Mark, is that if you were able to remove the fear, doubts, and internal limiters, you'd have no problem acting on what you actually know you should do, rather than distracting yourself onto another path where you can go and get what you think is treasure, even though it's fool's gold. I'm going to ask you to think right now of a time recent time, if you wish, make it real, of where you knew what to do, but you didn't do what you know. Can you think of a time like that? Is there something right now that you know that you want to do, but you've been putting it off? You've been hesitating. You've been distracting yourself. You need a bit more research. You need a bit more certainty. I haven't quite got the time. The timing's not quite perfect. Any of that language that comes up around something that's a little scary, but you know you need to do it.
More than one occasion springs to mind.
Well, pick one specifically.
Yeah, I'll pick one.
Do you know which action you would take if you didn't have this fear in the way? Let's just say you knew it was impossible to fail on whatever this action or project is.
Mm-hmm.
You fast forwarded with a crystal ball. You saw it all turn out perfectly. So now you've got nothing to worry about. Would you know which is the first step to take towards that?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
And I ask that because it's never a question of how. We lie to ourselves about that. I'm not quite sure how to do it. We're basically saying, I'm sure there's a better way I've not figured out yet, so let me figure that out. And what you're really saying is that I'm scared of taking action in case I fail. So I'm going to keep looking for certainty rather than avoid the uncertainty, which never works. So if you've got an action you need to take, I want you to hold that in mind when we do this exercise. And it begins very simple. It's a breathing exercise to start with. The breathing follows a specific pattern, and breathing is the only bodily function that we actually can have conscious control over, like sitting on a horse and holding the reins and steering the horse, or hand it over to the autonomic nervous system so we can drop the reins and allow the horse to walk itself. There's no other bodily process that allows us to do that. So breathing is quite powerful, and that's why throughout the centuries, it's been regarded in the mystics, amongst the people that teach high-level self-mastery, as the gateway into being able to overcome fear, doubt, obstacles, etc. In India, they call it prana. In China, they call it chi. In Japan, they call it ki. Yeah, there's many different words for it, but ultimately pointing towards the same thing. So how do we use that prana, that ki, that chi, in order to override the body's own defense mechanism and actually allow us to move forward and act on what we've been blocking ourselves to do? Well, very simple. For a start, we commence with breathing in a circular fashion. And circular fashion means that there's no pause at the top, there's no pause at the bottom. And it drives a rhythm for the body that then the body builds inertia in. If you pause and then breathe out and pause, you break the rhythm. So the rhythm is building up momentum for the shift in the bodily functions. One of the key things to do at the time is to breathe through the nose, because the nose is designed specifically as mammals used for breathing in and out. We know if you breathe through your mouth, your blood pressure goes up, your stress levels go up. If you breathe through your nose, they go down. That's why people who struggle with mouth breathe at night, for example, have more snoring problems. They have more sleep issues. They don't have as deep a sleep. The body doesn't repair as much. So the nose is the primary organ for inhale and exhale. That's the first thing. Now, unless you've got a sinus issue or you're suffering with a cold, I'm guessing you can breathe in and out through your nose.
Yep. Yeah.
Perfect. Next part of the equation is the facial muscles. Now, there's an exercise that feels really good that we need to do called smile. And when we smile, it actually overrides brain chemistry, and you start to feel good with the level of neuropeptides, hormones, endorphins, biochemistry that is actually released just through the act of smiling. That's why it's hard to feel angry when you're smiling. So we've got a timing, which is to breathing in for 6 seconds and then out for 6 seconds in a circular motion. I'll do the timing. We're going to do that a total of 10 times. That's all it's going to take for you to have a significant impact on your body's biochemistry. Now, at the end of that 2 minutes, you can kind of drop the reins on the horse and just allow it to continue that pattern, but you don't have to think about it. And I'm going to ask you some questions. Are you ready?
Yeah.
So feet on the floor. First thing I want you to do is just to breathe out all of the air through the nose. So empty the lungs completely through the nose. And then when there's none left, breathe out that extra little bit, which is normally there. And on the count of 3, we will start. 2, 3. Breathe in. Try to let the breath take the entire 6 seconds so it's nice and smooth. 5, and out. 2, 3, 4. Remember to smile. 5, 6, and in. Trying to lengthen the breath. And exhale. That's it. And inhale. That's it. Just nice and gentle. No pause at the top, no pause at the bottom. And exhale. That's it. Through the nose. And inhale. Nice and gently. Just naturally allowing it to go. And exhale. Already starting to feel cortisol dropping out of the system. Inhale. And exhale. That's it. Getting into the rhythm. Excellent. Okay, that's 1 minute. And inhale. Rising and falling naturally. And exhale. Keep that smile. And inhale. So nice and gentle, just a circular breath. Yes, that's effortless. You can't even tell the difference, just the direction of travel. Exhale. That's it. Nice and steady. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. That's it. Beautiful. Inhale. And exhale. Last time. And now what I want you to do, Mark, is just hand that over. So it continues, but it continues the pace the body's able to pace. So just keep that breath in and out. No need to count. Just allow it to continue that momentum, the inertia that you built up. Cool. Now, from that place, feeling calmer, feeling clearer, no doubts, no fears. Just keep that going. The body will override and drop your brain waves into that alpha state. So you're feeling calm and relaxed. Now, from here, thinking about the action that you need to take, what is the best next move for you to be able to do what you need to do without any fear or doubt? Remain in that state, so you're not jumping back into the head. Stay in that alpha state. And speak from being, not intellect. Spoken from intellect way too long. That's what keeps you stuck. Now I want to hear you from your truth. Doesn't matter what it is, just as long as you feel it. So what's your next step?
There's a company I'm going to write to, because what was stopping me was, the example I gave was when I set up as a copywriter, and I would write off to people, and I was so scared they might actually choose me for that fear of failure that I often wouldn't follow through. That's my next step, really.
You spend a long time being worried about what other people in their movies think of you walking into their movie. You're not in their movie. Whose movie are you starring in?
Mine.
So every action you take from there is designed to help you succeed in your movie. Every action you take is designed to get approval from other people in their movies about what you're doing, is always going to bring up automatically fear, doubt, judgment, and that's going to then manifest as resistance to moving forward, also known as procrastination, running patterns of distraction, etc. And do you want to spend the rest of your life running patterns of distraction?
No, not at all.
What does it feel like to actually own the role of star of your movie? What does it feel like to sit in the star chair in the movie of Mark's life?
It feels really nice, actually. It feels more in control.
Now, is this a form of control that you're used to? Are you trying to control everything else in order to feel certain? Or a different kind of control?
Different kind of control. I suppose maybe some control over my own emotions, or focusing on the wrong thing, like, what will that person think of me, or or maybe I'm not good enough, and then they'll regret ever having met me because I would have let them down. But just having that self-belief in that.
So it's not control, it's certainty. Describe the feeling that you have when you drop into alpha and you know what to do and there's no resistance. How does that make you feel?
Calm, actually, not having those anxious thoughts, and just.
And what if they do say no?
Not the end of the world. It's not, my movie will still carry on. No real consequences that I can think of that's going to have a lasting impact.
See, from an alpha perspective, you start to align with the belief that you live in a friendly universe. When you're in a beta brainwave, by definition, you live in a more hostile universe. Your brain is trained in beta to look for threats. In alpha, you access alpha because there are no threats, so now you can use that crowning piece of human biology for figuring out how to give your gift rather than how to protect your gift from being stolen.
I hadn't thought of it that way. But,
if somebody says no, then instead of you making that mean you fail, if you're in alpha and you believe in a friendly universe, what else could that mean?
I would take that to mean that as long as I'm open and knowing that it's a friendly universe, then I'm encouraging more friendliness back. I suppose that's.
Or it'll be that or something better. Or it wasn't you just got saved from what could have been a nightmare client ordeal. So if you know the universe has your back, which you can only access that feeling, that belief congruently from alpha or lower. And then if somebody says, no, it's no big deal. It's a beautiful avoidance strategy from a nightmare client downstream, or it could be a gift in other ways. Or they could just be testing you to see what your faith in the universe is, in which case, you ask for feedback and you adjust and you go again. And if it's still a no, it's a no, no big deal. You know the next one's coming. But if that was now an adopted belief and you actually understood that, you felt the reality of that, how many emails a day would you write?
As many as I could I could fit in, I think.
Give me a target for the next 24 hours.
10, 15.
Make it realistic. I mean, if you've been struggling to write one, then make it 10 for the next 24 hours. Have fun with it. Tune into who you want to know you want to send it to. You've probably got 10 people that you already know, or 10 companies you already know you want to approach. You've been dancing around.
Yeah.
So what has to happen for you to get those 10 emails out today without any attachment?
You need to be in more of an alpha mindset and have that calm that calm frame of mind to be able to
And
do
how does that start?
controlling the breath and bring myself into that calm alpha state.
Give me the key points. What are the key points of that technique?
So it's 6 seconds inhale, 6 seconds exhale without any pause at the top or bottom. And then do that for a couple of minutes. Assume go for longer if needed, and then take it from there.
What are we breathing in through?
Breathing through our nose. Sorry.
Yeah. And what are we doing with our face?
I don't know why I forgot to say smile, but sorry, completely forgot the smile bit. But yes, and smiling while breathing.
Yeah. And again, as you go into that practice, hold the scenario you want to action in your mind, loosely. Don't stress over it, otherwise you'll keep yourself in beta. Again, what it allows us to do is gently tug on the reins to steer the horse. What you don't want to do is try to yank the reins, because the horse then will fight back. So you breathe it in, breathe it out, focusing on next action, smile, use nasal breathing, and after 2 minutes, or go longer if you wish, you can ask yourself better questions. What's my next move? What was I really afraid of? And is that actually a ghost, or is that something for me to worry about? In alpha, you understand the difference between fear and danger. In beta, you don't. They're the same thing. So the body reacts when you're scared of somebody saying no, it reacts as if there's physical danger. Blood pressure rises, pupils dilate, your heart rate increases, you get ready to fight, flight, or hide. Whereas you drop into alpha, there's zero predatorial response, zero worry about the bandits coming or they falling off the cliff. And from there you can say, okay, what's my next move? And is that it? Let me go do that. And if fear or doubt comes up, as it's been conditioned for a long time, what do?
Bring yourself into that calm state, smile, and
breathe it out.
Breathe it out.
Yeah, perfect. So it's 2:30 my time. So by 2:30 tomorrow, I'd like an email to Abby saying that you've sent the 10 emails out.
Mm-hmm.
And more importantly, how you feel about it. The emails are irrelevant, right? The emails are just, there'll always be emails to send or write or things to do. So don't make it about the emails. Make it about how you feel writing and sending the emails, and notice what's different. So what's been keeping you resistant to it for the last, how long?
I mean, on this example that I've used, 3 years. Actually, no. Yeah, almost 3 years.
So if you've got a technique that'll allow you to make more progress in 24 hours in the last 3 years, that would be a pretty good technique to practice, I would imagine.
Yeah, that'd be amazing.
But rely on the breathing. That's your gateway. But the ultimate place of no fear and just acting because it's your truth, not cautiously tiptoeing because you're scared of rejection, happens in alpha. The other one happens in beta. And now you've got a technique to get there. And it'll be interesting to get that email. Again, don't worry, let go of attachment. Because the exercise is about you dropping down the cortisol when you go to think about doing something that you've been putting off. You just have that one technique. It's going to save you another 20 workshops.
I think even the drawing board got a bit fed up and we keep going back to it all the time.
Any last questions you want to ask me, Mark?
I don't have any questions as such, but yeah, I do have some comments on the session. It's actually quite, sorry, when I'm overawed, I get a bit tongue tied, and it's not because I can't speak or anything. So I hope you don't think like, do
the breathing.
Yeah. I feel it's kind of reframed my situation in such a nice way that sort of it's made me look on things in a much calmer way. A much more sort of positive mindset without that sort of, there's a saber-toothed tiger kind of reaction, which clearly hasn't been serving me. Yeah, thank you. That's all I could really say at this point.
You're welcome. No, real pleasure. And get in touch with what that would actually mean to you, a month from now, 6 months from now. Just being able to walk your truth, not worrying about what anybody in the public gallery thinks about you on stage.
Would you be happy if I emailed Abby and just to let you know?
Yeah. Please do. Let me know how it goes. But don't think that just doing it once, everything will work out. It's a practice. Soon it'll become natural because you'll train your nervous system to drop cortisol rather than train your nervous system to re-trigger cortisol, which is where most people lie. But once you know how to do that breathing and you run it 120 seconds, each time you feel anxious or something comes up or that fear of uncertainty or whatever it may be, or think oh no, I've got to run off and chase skills in order to get certainty, which will never happen. And just run it through. Make it your friend. And then I'll be very interested to see what happens from here.
Thank you, Peter. That's pleasure's all mine. I'm really appreciative of today's opportunity. I was quite bowled over to be invited. So thank you. It's
my pleasure. That's what I'm here for. That's why it's easy for me to do this, because I'm answering my call. There's a lot of people out there that can benefit from your skills, and it's time to answer your call.
Thank you, Peter.
All right, Mark. Take care. I look forward to the email.
You too. Thanks, Peter. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it.